Now, we should also clarify, we're doing a terrible job at this. If you'd like to see all of this, like, tights footage that we're talking about, including myself, Sexy McSheer showing up, just bouncing about and trying on all the different pairs of hose.
This is full on behind the scenes for you paying patrons with the video content that you're getting flashing up on the screen.
Yeah, both. It's raw.
For those of you that are getting a good chunk of this episode anyway, if you're enjoying it.
Yeah, you're getting, but there are some parts that are missing, some very juicy, incendiary, pantyhose-laden parts. If you want to see that, though, which we all know you want to, because it's pretty sexy. I'll say it, I'm sure. I gotta.
Is it not getting just funnier and funnier because of us having our straight blokey chat? Anyone who can see the picture right now is thinking, yeah, right, mate.
Oh, yeah, no, like, this is the straight episode, everyone.
To be honest, what do we mean by straight?
By straight, we mean exclusively heterosexual sex. I mean, that's where we talk about the Kinsey scale. Okay. Do you want to take a live Kinsey scale reading? I could give you the Kinsey test. Do you know what the Kinsey test is?
Yeah, let's start off with the Kinsey test and see where I'm on to start this off.
Full disclosure. I test as a Kinsey 4, which we'll get to that in a minute. But let's get the Kinsey scale test that doesn't suck out loud. Not the BuzzFeed one. Don't go to the BuzzFeed one. Try to go to a website that looks like it's affiliated with a university if you're going to do this, people. Because BuzzFeed is diarrhea cha-cha-cha. Dr. Alfred Kinsey, Dr. Wardell Pomeroy, and Dr. Clyde Martin developed the heterosexual through homosexual rating scale, also known as the Kinsey scale, in order to account for research findings that showed the people that did not fit into exclusive hetero or homosexual categories. The Kinsey team interviewed thousands of people about their sexual histories. Research shows that sexual behavior, thoughts, and feelings towards the same or opposite sex were not always consistent across time. Now, this was in the 50s, okay? So this was really revolutionary. I mean, this was at a time, at least in America, where sex was not just not talked about. It was considered under the penalty of death. So are you ready, McSheer, to answer question 1 of 7?
I am very much ready to answer question 1 of 7.
Okay.
This is the moment.
Okay, so I'm going to read you choices. It's just try to remember their A, B, C, D, E, kind of. So, to whom are you attracted? Both men and women, mostly people of the opposite sex from mine, mostly people of the same sex, only people of the opposite sex, only people of the same sex.
But definitely mostly people of the opposite sex, but
okay.
The very small percentage of same sex is when they're completely femmed up. Does that
would be mostly people of the opposite sex, because a femmed up man is still a man, people.
Yeah, but when he takes his tights down, I'm done.
Well, that's how sex is with everybody. I mean, when you're done, when you're blowing your load, like, are you going to be like, oh, I'm so horny for you?
No. If he takes his femme gear off and I see hair or a penis or a male back.
You see hair. You see a male back. What if they're shaved?
And really twinky and effeminate.
Still a man. Look, all I'm saying is that one time I was at a club and I was checking out this really cute guy, like Justin Bieber looking dude, until I realized he was indeed not a dude. It was a small lesbian, and I was having a heterosexual moment.
Well, this is where throws this whole straight, gay, divide labeling thing up in the air.
We're labeling by the fact of that they what is the sex? What is the sex of the person? Like, what is the sex of the person that you are? Opposite sex, not opposite gender, opposite sex. Same sex, opposite sex.
I'm going to agree, for the sake of argument, not that there's an argument, for the sake of discussion, that it's mostly people of the opposite sex.
Okay, mostly people of the opposite sex. All right, cool. Who have you had sex with? And when sex, I believe that I think this does not have to mean penetration. I think it just can be any sort of sex, including like oral or that kind of stuff. So, who have you had sex with? Same before, both men and women. Both men and women, but I prefer people of the opposite sex. Both men and women, but I prefer people of the same. Only people of opposite. Only people of same.
I guess both men of women, and I prefer people of the opposite.
You're going the route that I thought you were going to go. I can tell you're not lying. Who have you had sexual fantasies about? Both men and women, mostly opposite, mostly people of same, only people of opposite, only people of same.
God, I'm such a complicated fucker. I mean, the times that a male has been involved in my sexual fantasies, it's been part of a dominant female enforcing it to prove that I'm not masculine enough. Do you know what I mean?
I see. So
it comes into the thought, but it's like
you're blaming your fantasy dominatrix for your homosexual fantasies.
if that's what it sounds like.
You're like, I'm not gay. My dominatrix made me.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I've heard on some other podcasts and some dominatrix stuff. I hear that sort of talk from them. They go, "Oh yeah, he's not gay. He just wants to be forced to be gay."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. And I hear that and I go, "Oh my god, that's me."
I mean, yeah, it's sort of, well, there's this two schools of thought. One could be that it's literally, that's what it is. A dominatrix is making him do it, and he really would never ever do it, but because of the dominatrix, or human beings are complicated, and maybe the man has some, maybe some issues about homosexuality and needs the proxy there in order to sort of sail it home. But it's like, they don't have to feel bad. Like, I've been with guys who they're like, I don't kiss. And I'm like, beg your pardon? You don't kiss. I'm like, okay, so that's not gay, but the sucking dick's not gay, but kissing, that's too much. And I think it's those guys are literally afraid of the fact that they can fall in love with a man. Like that's a different shade of gay. But in any case, who have you had sexual fantasies about?
I think it's more like what I'm saying now. There's these sort of slight kinks in the chain that make you very confused because you're like, hang on, something is now turning me on. That genuine. It's not like I've, for my life, suppressed desires and feelings and wanted the world to know that I've got a crush on any guys, It's just occasionally as the fetish develops and you try more things, you then go, oh, it's like pushing to a new extreme, and it's genuinely quite new. And I've heard guys talk about it before and get sort of and I find it hilarious when you do it, but they're sort of like, oh yeah, right, I'm going to suck a dick, but I'm not gay. It's like,
exactly.
Maybe you're right when people are scared to admit that they're a bit gay, but maybe the wider point is that
McSheer.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to please answer the question for the court, please.
Oh yeah. I'm going to say, what was the question?
The question was, who have you had sexual fantasies about? Mostly people of the same sex, mostly people of opposite, both men and women, only people of opposite, only people of same. And I think that you were saying mostly people of the opposite sex. Mostly, I think is what.
It is. It's mostly the opposite. Yeah, we're going to go with that again.
That was quite a train we went on for that one. Okay, so with whom do you form strong emotional bonds? Same choices as before. Both men and women, mostly people of opposite, mostly people of same, only people of the opposite, only people of the same.
Well, definitely the same. It's most people of the opposite, but I've definitely got some strong emotional bonds with guys, male friends, but that's because we relate. I guess you and I have got a strong emotional bond, no? We've only known each other about 6 weeks.
We have only known each other about, has it been like that little? And yet, at the same time, like, you're rampantly attracted to me, and that's okay too, because we've talked about it. I mean, McSheer's hopelessly into me, guys. It's just, it's apparent. I mean, I know it's embarrassing for you. I shouldn't really talk about it. I think we can get a copyright strike for that. I think we can.
No, I definitely did it in a few different keys.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah, I was thinking I thought you were just doing a jazzy version, but hopefully that won't get us copyright strike, because I'm not getting sued by the people from Greece, because I'll be like, well, who put the bop in the bop shabop shabop, fucker? Who do you feel most?
Do you want these red hose me to try on next, or should I go for something else?
Ew, what was the choices again?
Oh, I've got this red pair, and I've got another pair of new sheer nude to go on top of these nude underlayer.
Are we lit better yet?
I've lit for my camera phone for the audience. That's why it's not lit very well for you, because it's two different color temperatures.
Well, shoot. Let's save the best for last, so sheer for last.
Okay, so I'm going to go with this red pair, something I don't usually ever wear, but why not? Sorry, next question.
Was it who put the bop in the bop shabop shabop? I think that was it. No, okay. I'm going to go back to it.
I bet it was...
Who do you feel most comfortable socializing with? Both men and women, mostly opposite, mostly people of same, only people of opposite, only people of same.
Really nearly only people of opposite, but I'd say mostly.
Mostly. Okie dokie, artichoke. The idea of having sex with someone of the opposite sex from mine is desirable, interesting, tolerable, negative, or disgusting?
Oh, there are elements of disgust with it. Wait, what are you talking about? What's
The idea
opposite
of having
sex?
sex with someone of the opposite sex is disgusting to you?
No, sorry.
Like, what are you?
I'm straight, I promise.
Desirable, interesting, tolerable, negative, or disgusting?
No, I'd say it's interesting and desirable.
Can you choose
But
one?
not as desirable as roleplay and S&M.
So, okay, so if you had to pick one answer, because that's sort of how this one works.
Does it account for the type of sex you like to have? Because it's really desirable for me to have my kind of sex with a woman.
It doesn't specify this really is, again, this is sort of like, this isn't like, this is not hard science. This isn't going to give you an answer to the great mysteries of sexuality. It's just sort of a fun way to kind of figure out what your test is, But for me, I'd say it sounds like you said interesting, because desirable for me would be like, you would immediately go desirable.
Okay, interesting then.
Okay, so then the same is, and this is final one, the idea of having sex with someone of the same sex is tolerable, interesting, desirable, negative, or disgusting.
In the same way that I responded about the opposite sex and said interesting because of certain reasoning, it's actually, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting to have sex with someone of the same sex?
In terms of another pair of balls, another cock near my ass, or mine near theirs, or in my mouth. It's not I hate calling it disgusting, but it's just that's the answer they're given.
Tolerable?
Negative. Let's call it negative.
I see.
Do you like my pose?
Yes, I do. I do like your
bending
pose.
my knees in these like pixie red tights.
As you say, the idea of having sex with someone of the same sex is negative. Interesting. Well, you guys, you heard it first. McSheer's in deep denial about me, and it's okay. We'll get there one day. You'll understand. But are you ready to find out what your Kinsey test is?
We're ready.
You are a Kinsey 1. You are heterosexual with incidental homosexual tendencies.
Very nice.
Now, the way that it goes is there's...
It's good to know. I'm a Kinsey 1.
Yeah, so the choices is Kinsey 0, exclusively hetero. Then there's you. Then there's Kinsey 2, heterosexual with more than incidental homosexual tendencies. We got 3, bi, straight down the line. They got 4, which is me, homosexual with more than incidental heterosexual tendencies. Got a 5, homosexual with incidental hetero, and 6, exclusively homo. Guy.
And I'm a 1.
You are Kinsey 1.
Which sets us perfectly up for me to represent for this episode, then.
Yeah, you're pretty. I mean, you're about as straight as they come.
That's quite remarkable, basing on how I'm dressed right now. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, I mean, I guess then that goes into the whole thing. What is dressing up in pantyhose or dressing femme? Does that have to go hand in glove with something homosexual? I mean, I've met many guys. Well, okay. Like, let's just, I can speak from, say, the male wearers. I don't know a lot of straight guys, but I've heard some guys say that they like seeing women in it, they love seeing women in it, they have no interest in wearing themselves whatsoever.
How curious is that? Does that make them hosers? Or does that, I mean, I can't imagine loving this material that much, but only liking it on women. And as you said before, not, maybe... Like we put it out there, didn't we? Has anyone got in touch?
No, we haven't. But we haven't put it out there because that came up on the unreleased episode, I think, that we were talking about with Mike.
Right.
But we're going to start putting it out there every episode. I want to find somebody. I want to talk to somebody who has never ever worn, has no desire to wear, and yet loves to see women, or you know what, fuck it. Even if it's a man who likes to see men in it. I mean, I would even take that.
Exactly, because that's the key. It's not even about being gay or straight. It's about loving tights and pantyhose, but not liking wearing them.
Or not even liking wearing them, like having no curiosity. I just don't know if I believe it. I don't like to think in absolutes, but I do in this case. It bothers me because am I like a shitty, dumb, binary thinker, when it comes to that kind of thing? I think I might be. So I don't buy it. Do you buy it?
I do buy it, but I just struggle to understand what's like. Are those people that let's say, for example, I do buy it because I don't know, but let's say I do buy it. What I'd want to know is then if you know that you love tights, when did that start, and why did it stop with just admiring people wearing them? Like, do people that love leather only like other people in leather? Do people that like other fetishes for things only like them on? I don't know. It just seems to contradict what even having a intense fetish or
I've
passion for
never
something even
known
is.
of a leather fetishist who doesn't also wear leather themselves. I've never seen that, and that makes me wonder. Again, that makes me question: is the like pulling away, like not wanting to wear, is that a fear of being considered feminine or fear of considered being gay? Which, let's face it, is indeed just an extension of fear of being feminine.
I used to, before I admitted to my partners, my trail into it would be, I'd always be just really complimentary when they were wearing. I would touch them more, and I'd say things like, "Oh God, I love it." I dare say that I loved them in tights, but felt like, as I've said before, stockings was more acceptable. So I'd be like, "I love these things." So they'd start wearing them more. I never dared admit to them that I had these deep desires to dress in them and wear them, and you know the rest. So it's interesting that maybe, like you're saying, maybe everyone just claims to like them but isn't ready to come out. But then if you were listening to this or all the other things we've heard about people, all those guys that love wearing, by now surely these platforms give you an opportunity to go, oh yeah, I say that I don't like wearing them, but actually I do. I've just got nowhere to admit it. I haven't got the relationship. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, but you know what's interesting is Kathy does not agree with me on this one. She doesn't. She thinks that there are, and I'm like, and I will defer to her because she, talks to more people than I do. But does she? Because at the same time, I'm not really like giving myself much credit. I mean, like, I do talk to like a lot of hosers. But I'm also just trying to like, I'm not as open-minded as the both of you are, because you say things like, well, I do buy it, but, and I'm like, well, you buy it, but does that just mean you don't? Because if it's like, yeah, but, like, isn't yeah, but like, no.
For me, it's the complexity of it all, and even the complexity of myself.
I know, but I want to be complex. That's the problem. Is like, I want to have that kind of complex thinking. I want to say, I can understand that there is a variance of all types of sexuality out there, and there is.
I'm a bit in your camp because as we discuss it, I'm skeptical. I just am like
not sure. I just am not sure that you can like love seeing them on another person, love touching them on another person, and then not in private. Just, I mean, how? I mean, maybe there is someone out there. Maybe there's the one person, but I'd hate to do that. But I'd be like the Pantyhose unicorn would be what I would call it. I'd be like, are you that person? And like, what's that like to have like everybody in the Pantyhose community that are like me to be like, he's a witch.
It sounds like the Crucible. The Pantyhose version of the Crucible.
The Pantyhose Crucible. Oh, is that the next one?
So I'm one on the scale. We've discussed what we feel is the almost impossibility of fetishists that don't want to wear.
The lovers of pantyhose who don't and have not ever worn. And it doesn't count if you tried it once and don't like it, which again, I'd question why you wouldn't. I'd be like, maybe you just got a really, really shitty pair of pantyhose, or maybe, and I know that I'm going to be burned at the stake here by a lot of my gay listeners, but maybe your legs were too hairy, and because, there are some guys out there who like to have hairy legs and pantyhose. It baffles me. Baffles me to no end. I mean, it's...
Yeah, that is a bit confusing.
It baffles me.
I hate having even my beard on when I'm cross-dressing.
Well, this isn't... These are more like along the lines of me, where they like to look like men, except for... So they really want to look like manly to the point where it's like they have to have the body hair, which again, I think it's weird. It's these constructs that sort of play into it. Like, I don't shave my legs because I want to look feminine. I don't shave my legs because of some sort of like, like it's not a statement. For me, it's like, it fucking looks good and it feels good. That's like,
right.
That's, I mean, I guess I'm like a caveman when it comes to like my like sort of fetishes, because there's not like these high, like sort of psychologically complex reasons as to why I like it. I think it's just like, it looks good and it feels good. I think that's maybe.
I think my girlfriend wishes I was like that. She has no problem with a hose. It's the dynamic and role play and the humiliation I then want to feel. It's complete. I can feel it's completely based in our upbringings of toxic masculinity and expectations of men to be men. It's got to be.
It's true, but I guess the thing about it is though is that like she can free herself from the shackles of that bullshit. And I mean like, but the role playing thing though, here's the thing: I get it, and I find it hot. Like when I find, like I've learned to over the years like appreciate it. As I've gotten older, I've become more and more like not just open to it, but like genuinely aroused by it. Like when I was younger, I was like not into guys wearing, dresses. And the only thing for me, like I said, the only thing for me that I'm just like, it doesn't do it for me is the wigs. The wigs. Oh, the wigs. Gentlemen, ladies.
So if it was a really good wig, you wouldn't mind though?
I mean, it's tough. It's tough because the Sandra D flip, like the Drew Barrymore and Scream hairdo just doesn't look good with a strong jawline. It doesn't. I mean, look, like the same with...
That's a really good point you've made, because the truth is, despite all the positivity and the support that some people try and give, that's the biggest depressing thing for most sissies, cross-dressers, female wannabe hoses, is the fact that it's not just the jaw, it's the shoulders as well.
It's very, yeah, it's this, and it's like, and I don't mean, but again, I understand that there are people out there who find like that combination like incredibly sexy. So that is hot to a lot of people, and there are plenty of people there, and I'm sure, I know that there are plenty of women who probably find that hot. Like that, I understand that combination being hot, but for me, it is a tough sell because I'm coming at it basically from a shallow aesthetic, like photographer's point of view, where I'm like, if you take a soft round face with bangs and a bob, to me, it's an aesthetic thing. But it has nothing to do with what's actually hot. I'm just one person, and what the fuck do I know?
Yeah, but it's curious because furthermore, it taps into that the whole trans issue. It's like, why in our heads do we want to have narrower shoulders and softer jawlines?
Well, is this trans?
It's like, is there a part of us that's a little bit trans and we're just not open to that?
Do you like feel like you're in the wrong body sometimes?
No, but I really desire, because I like my legs in tights sometimes if I get the right angle. I really crave having a more feminine head and shoulders, definitely. But
okay. All right, but do you like hate your dick?
No.
Do you like really feel like you're missing beautiful breasts that you want to like have?
No.
See, I don't think that. I think that trans is when that's what's happening, where you're just like, I am not, and from what I know and from trans people I know, the dressing has zero sexual thrill to it. In fact, I don't know if I've met any trans people who are fetishists for because it's not opposite sex to them. It is the sex they were supposed to be, and that's. So I'm maybe there are people out there that have had these like interesting developments, but it seems to be to me, it doesn't strike me as that's not a trans issue. That's a cross-dressing issue.
Yes, I think you're quite right, and I love. This is part of why I want to do this podcast with you, because there's no one to talk to who's willing to go on about this curious, unanswerable question. That's why we look forward to getting a psychiatrist of some sort on, because there are so many more differences. But they separate out between drag queens, cross-dressers, transgender, transvestite.
Yeah, trans and drag are they're completely sexless. It's like there's no like thrill of these drag queens. They're not like, oh, this is so hot, I'm dressed in drag. You talk to most of them, they're like, it's not comfortable, and it can't be. I mean, you're literally like when corsets and layers of, and like we're talking like layer upon layer upon layer of pantyhose, and these, fake boobs, and then they're dancing, and I'm like, I would pass out. I would pass the fuck out.
Would we fall under are we queer?
Are we queer? Yeah. I mean, I
am, aren't I? I consider myself queer, I think.
I would say you're a healthy dose of it, yeah.
So, keep going down the scale and the spectrum. Now go to hosers who have fetish for hose but don't necessarily want to wear. Are they queer?
If they exist. Which again, it's sort of like
and therefore in that same category would be anyone with as strong as fetish as this for anything.
Are they queer in the sense of, I guess it would technically not be, no, it would not be queer, because that would just be somebody who is completely engrossed with the what's interesting though is like you would consider that queer if it was gay, yet it's not queer if it was straight. And I'd be like, at the same time, like I don't know if that's queer. If it's not queer and it's when it's straight, then it's not queer if it's gay. So I guess I would say everybody in between might be queer, but not them, not the poles, like the polar opposites.
So we're saying that these hosers, straight men hosers,
or gay men who have, let's throw it in there, just make it.
Okay, so straight or gay men that don't like to wear but love tights on other people
and have never worn
are the only hosers that aren't queer.
I would say that would be my thoughts on it. I think that works. But again, it's sort of like, you know, like until I see it, you know, with my own two eyes, I'm not going to say it's real. And you know what I'm talking about. Santa Claus, hello? There is no imaginary man in the sky who makes a list and checks on it to see whether or not you're being good or bad, okay? But if there is, which I've never met Santa, some people claim to have met Santa, I don't know. But if there is, I need to see it in front of my face. And I also need to see these so-called lovers of hose who've never worn, don't want to.
Let me tell you a story as we're on Straight Man episode about something I did. I was working on a building site, and this applies to the question you just asked. It was at a time when I was doing a lot of cocaine, I was doing night shifts, and there was this sort of garage office area, and I was high, and I had found inside the toolbox, this big masculine toolbox, this supermarket box of cheap tights, like six pairs in a box, 15 denier nude tights. And I was like, what are they doing there? And I'm in builder gear. I can't tell you what it's like. The type of guys you're working with they're cool guys, but it's not even like being scared of sharing it with your, like a football crowd or my fellow bloke friends. This is like
bloke friends.
This is like a world of if you don't even like talk the way they do, they're just gonna. I can't explain it. It's fine now as an adult, but as a teenager, and I've done it for many years.
Intimidating.
It's intimidated me. You sort of go, fuck it, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut and get on with it. But then I find this box of tights. I'm thinking, someone here has bought these for their toolbox.
Mm-hmm. That's
I'm
what I'm
trying
saying.
to work out what on earth. Yeah, but they weren't secret. They were in a public toolbox.
They were in a public toolbox.
Yeah, well, for the whole site, you're on 40 people using the toolbox, and it turns out they were clearly being used for absorbing liquid.
Wait a minute. Why would 15 denier pantyhose be good at absorbing liquid? They're really thin. Like you would use a washcloth.
Yeah, but there needed to be cloths that go in, down, long. They're perfect length for what they needed to absorb the liquid from.
I see. Interesting.
I then, one particular night, knew it was coming, was all daylight, and I was a bit high. I was doing my night shift, and I checked for cameras because I was on my own. So this central London here, there's bound to be cameras, but I got them out, took a pair. It was hard as a rock. Called a chat line, like a 1990s lonely
1-800 talk to chicks.
Yeah, talk to Mistress K or whatever.
And it's like some like 500-pound lady in Wisconsin. It's like, hi.
Well, I did that, and I was jacking off, wearing tights on the floor of this workman's garage, and couldn't really. And once I came, I hung up, and I mean, fuck me, it was just so unbelievably thrilling, and my parts going. You can imagine, it was just nice.
So you were in a very masculine, very male-driven.
Yeah, straight male.
Not, well, yeah, straight. I think let's just say straight presenting, because I can guarantee you one of those guys or two of those guys were piping each other, just so you know. Like
just to coin that off though, I then kept them on, put my work trousers on top, and continued to work the next day with them on, because I was scared if I put them in a bin or anywhere that they would be discovered, and I couldn't deal with the potential consequences of that in my head, so I kept them on.
But they would be discovered by who?
I don't know, someone on the site.
So the person would come in and be like, last night I bought like 15 pairs of tights, right? And then like I came back today and there's 14 pairs. Who took one of the pairs of tights? Was it you, McSheer? Because like that would be expected, right? It would be expected that there would be a pair missing because you use them to clean up.
Because it's like whoever bought them for a specific task.
Were they nice?
It's not that. It's more that I thought they'd see them in a bin. They might chuck their lunch in a bin and see a pair of tights and be like,
Were they nice though?
I loved. Well, at the time it was wasn't the tights were particularly nice. They were cheap, but it was what I was doing and where it was the danger mixed with my fetish.
Right.
It was unbelievable. And I must point out as well that telling the woman on the phone was sexy. She was like, "You're what? You're doing this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she started abusing me and degrading me. And
you shocked the sex phone lady. That's so funny. Isn't that quaint?
She was probably just acting, but doing
I don't know.
what I was paying her to do.
That sound like if she's like, "You're what?" Like that sounds like a real reaction. Like, because I don't know, a dominatrix wouldn't be like, "You're what?" Like that's shock. The dominatrixes shouldn't be shocked, right? Like they should never be like. Like dominatrix is never going to let out the gay gasp, which, you know, if you're ever out with a guy, any guy friend, and something happens that's shocking and they go, that is what we call the gay gasp. If you hear that, congratulations, you're hanging out with a gay man. Like I've let it out myself. We can't control it. The gay gasp will
later
happen.
That day, I let out the gay gasp with my tights still on because one of my colleagues, and I'd worked a night shift and then into the day, but that's just how it worked in this particular job for whatever reason. I was trying to make money. I heard this guy called Josh, and he said...
Josh, if you're listening.
I heard him mention at lunchtime that there was some cameras on site, new cameras that they'd installed within the work site, and I gave the gay gasp. I went... You what? And he went, "Oh, the cameras." And I said, "Sorry, cool." And then I'd quickly recover and be like, "Oh, wicked, yeah, is that to stop security? Or when did they go up? Because I was here all of last night. I didn't see any." And he goes, "Oh, they've got some in there and some in there." And he pointed towards the garage that I've been in. Mum terrified at this point. I'm going, "Oh my God, I'm going to have to find tapes. I'm going to have to steal them. I'm going to have to delete them." And it's really funny.
My God.
It turns out, luckily, there was no camera in the part of the garage that I was by fluke, but there was new temporary CCTV that had been put in. So that really is the end of the story. But you can imagine.
Yeah, if you let out, for one gay gasp, that is if you let out 20 gay gasps in a lifetime, that's you're 10 points away from sucking a dick. And then so 20 times 10 is what I'm just saying. Like if you let out a gay gasp, you're just not straight. Because I know some straight guys. Like, and I know some straight guys. Like, and they don't have the gay gasp. They don't have it. Like bisexuals can have it too. It could be the bisexual guys. I'm just saying, like the tendency to be the propensity for male attraction gasp, should say. Like that's just what it is. The gay gasp. We'll call it the gay gasp because, you know, let's face it, we're the gay men, we own it. I mean, you know, we let it out.
It's a cool thing.
It is. It's. I mean, my mom, she's a woman, but you know, she does the gay gasp pretty well. But you know, what can I say? What can I say?
That's where you got it from.
Of course, it's where I got it from. I mean, it's a lot of gay men have strong relationships with their mothers, and their mothers are usually very intense women. Like a gay mom, as a mother of a gay, is usually very, very like a fabulous woman. You know, they're not they're never boring. Let's just say, and if they are, then their son is like deeply closeted, and it's very sad. It's very Brokeback Mountain type of ending. Or the mom's a closeted lesbian. Oh, the world is full of mysteries.
Have we got anything else we can touch on with our straight man episode?
Yeah, this is the gayest straight episode ever. I hope nobody was expecting it to be super straight, because this is about as straight to my nuts. I'd say maybe it's probably better way of putting it, right? I mean, we tried though. I think we tried, but you know what? We are going to focus on this, because I really want to. I want to find some. I want to have some like ladies with sexy legs on, because we need to start like embracing the lady sexy legs. Like I need to open my frickin' mind. You know, like I
look at First Class Woman on Instagram. There's just
First
loads
Class
of tights
Woman?
models. Yeah, and it's not it's multiple.
Is that
women.
a woman?
It's multiple women, all posing in different tights fetishes.
Are they like represented?
What do you mean?
Like, is it a way to reach them? Do you reach the women?
Oh, well, that's what I want to look into.
Oh, well, because I don't look at when I'm looking for porn. I just it's if the women are in it, they're wearing pantyhose, and it's, you know, that's what's happening. But I just wouldn't know where to start. I'm like, straight pantyhose ladies, and it just takes you to like garbage sites, and you're like, okay.
I just type in women in tights, girls in tights, or I search this person wearing tights reading the news, then it links to other things, I guess.
Yeah,
but I don't
but
really go for the porn. I'm looking for the Instagram.
Do you know what you need to do? You just need to man up, frickin' don't be such a sissy, and go find some hot women for us to look at. Jeez. God.
Well, just so where I can go and get loads of female opinions. I can get girls talking about it. Girls like,
Why can't you? Why can't you do it? You're a recording studio person.
Yeah, but I don't want to end it. I don't want to make the wrong calls and then someone start complaining about me being...
Complaining?
I don't know. I just think it's something I've got to be sensitive about, no? There's a man over there. He's asking me about my tights for a sex podcast. Do you know what people are like?
Well, no, I don't, because it's like if you're in public, I mean, is it that draconian in London? Like if you go up and you say, I have a few questions for a podcast, would you like to be on the podcast? And you give them a release form and you agreed to not use their real
that's
name.
What I mean. Sorry, no, it isn't that draconian, but that's what I mean when I say stuff. I don't know how to do the release form bit.
Oh my God, that's easy.
If you can do a tights frame of mind release form, then I can get out there and get more shit. And hopefully that will lead to us getting some women involved that want to dress.
I didn't realize you didn't know all that. Okay, that's not a problem.
Well, I kind of know it, but it's not the way I'm never in one place, am I?
So this is also some behind the scenes stuff. But just remember, I'm wearing full body hoses. I'm talking about paperwork. Arrgh.
I changed into this pair. Another nude pair, much less thick. They're really nice. They're brand new on.
Oh, okay. So, and then if and the next, and if you want to join our Patreon, the top tier level will be me completely sexually harassing the hell out of McSheer, because I'm gonna.
I know how to turn you off. I just dress in my more feminine shoes.
Oh, really? You know how to turn me off? Well, how's this? I am turned on. So how do you like that?
What? Because I'm wearing a skirt and heels.
I told you that doesn't turn me off.
But I have a vagina.
The focus on genitals is a very, very foreign thing for me, because here's my I always would say this to people. I'd say, okay, let's say you meet somebody. They are your vision of absolute physical perfection, be it man or woman. You go out to dinner with them. You have an incredible evening. You laugh. You have the same interests. You're both the same intelligence. Everything is perfect, right? You decide, you go on 3 dates with them, because that's the statistics that they show. Like, not having sex for 3 dates, it actually leads to long relationships, right? 3rd date, decide, okay, we're going to do it. You get upstairs, and like I'm saying, their vision of perfection, everything, smell, look, just the whole kit and caboodle. You pull down the pants, and instead of the expected genitals that you have there, that you wanted to see there, they're the opposite. So, like, for me, it would be like Channing Tatum with a pussy. Or for you, it would be what would be yours?
Big things for Rihanna.
Okay, Rihanna. So Rihanna pulls down her pants and she's got a cock. Is that a deal breaker?
You're making a very good point, because I just don't know what I would do with it. I'd want to keep her there, but I would be like, oh my God, we now need to discuss how this is going to work.
You don't know how to play with a dick?
Oh, but I'd need her to be open to me going, I'm going to have to get used to this for a second, because it's a bit of a...
So the answer to you is no, it's not a deal breaker.
Well, there you go. Well dug, well found.
See, so that's my thing. Is like I've met so many people who have said like, "Oh no, that's a deal breaker," and I'm like, "Really?" Like the genitals are a deal breaker, because for me, it's one of these great quotes was from Queer as Folk. This character, Debbie Novotny, says, "Genitals is just God's way of accessorizing." I was out with a bunch of gay guys when I was in my 20s, and we were all talking, and I was like, well, you guys, like, remember in college, right? You guys fooled around with girls, right? I mean, we all have, right? We can admit that. And they were like, ew, no, that's disgusting. Vagina is disgusting. That's sick. What's wrong with you? You're gay. And I literally was like, I felt like that one frat boy who was like, well, like, fooled around with a guy once or twice, right? It's like, what's wrong with that? They're like, oh, dude, you're gay. That's gross. What's up, bro? That's gross. Fuck, bro, gross. Like, it's the same reaction.
Yeah, but the thing is, people at that age at college, when they talk about sexuality, people don't really talk sense.
These were not. But that was college, right? But I was with a group of guys. With the youngest one was probably me at 27. There's some of them were in their 40s. So, and I'm just saying, like, that reaction is not that it's not that different. I think if that is your reaction to somebody admitting that they have fooled around with the opposite or the same sex, that their reaction is, oh my God, that's gross. How can you say that? That's somebody who has deep-seated issues. They got more problems than a math book. Okay? More issues than Vogue.
Yeah, I can't remember what the original point was.
The point is that for me, because you said I have a vagina, and I'm like, I don't care if you have a vagina.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Like,
I'm just saying that we can't ignore the associations that people make with these things through life. Then they become habit, and you're quite right. But
I can't ignore it.
There are some vaginas that I go, oof, I don't want to go near that. And I definitely feel like that. I mean, penises, I just think of the sweat and the balls and it's just...
Most penises are hideous, okay? Same way that I think probably most pussies are. I'd say your average pussy is probably not, like, camera ready. The same way the average cock is, right?
Crap, I've got a ladder in the front of these for my finale.
Oh, ladder. In American, that's run.
Yeah, I got runs in my pantyhose. I used to love hearing that in films. Oh my God, look at the state of these. Sorry, everyone. This has gone from being sexy, sheer office.
Some people like that. Some people like the runs. I've known plenty of guys who are like, oh, I love a good run.
I look a right rock chick, don't I? Sorry, boss. I'm late for work today.
Is that what a rock chick sounds like? Like those chicks would be like, fuck them. I don't give a shit. I'm not late for work. I'm never coming to work again. Fuck you. Other McSheer's rock chick is like, oh, sir.
You make a very good point. But look at the state of those.
I would love to see
that?
you play a rock chick. I can see that.
Have we covered was that our straight man episode done?
Well, I think it's a journey to straightness. I'd say we're dipping our toes in the lake of straight. I'd say that was still pretty gay.
I must say, for the listeners, I have talked about myself a lot. I've contradicted loads of what the King has said. There is video of him playing right now. It just wasn't live. So we can... What should we have you wear for when you film yourself to go opposite my ridiculous model show?
Thigh highs, maybe. I'll try to... For the straight episode, I'm going to femme myself up.
That's what you need to... Yeah, you need to femme yourself up. You need to get thigh highs. I think keep to the hose. Come on, we're tights lovers, not thigh highs lovers, right?
The fact that you felt the urge to have to tell me that is comical.
Yes.
I woke up in pantyhose. Like, for me, pantyhose are like they're usually the only time that they're off is in the shower, and sometimes that's not even a thing because I'll be like, I'm just gonna wash them off and keep them on because they feel really good. So when I say put on thigh highs, like there's absolutely going to be pantyhose underneath, always. We're
going to get on with that Hooters episode, and more excitingly, we've got an idea for the perfect guest for that episode, which is why it's been put back one. We'll surprise you guys. We've got a good guest for our Hooters ep.
Well, shall we call it a day, a morning?
We'll call that a day, and it's been lovely. Thanks for indulging me, and I look forward to see what videos are playing up against this for our patrons alongside my little fashion show, could you call it?
Well, I would call it a fashion show off, I'd say. And one of these days, just you wait. I'm going to fuck you.
It's been a pleasure, Mr. King. It's been a pleasure, and I will catch you in due course.
Bye. Bisexual.